My beloved child, remember this. What I am about to give you is not meant to make you proud or exalted, but to help you serve with a humbler heart. The greater the revelation, the deeper the responsibility. The more understanding you receive, the greater your love must become. When I unveil mysteries, it is not for you to keep them hidden, but to become a light for those still groping in the dark. Use what I give to bring hope, healing, and comfort to the wounded souls around you. Speak with my words, but carry the heart of one who knows how to love. Now, my child, prepare yourself. For I am opening a new door, one that leads into a realm where only those who trust completely may enter. This season will not be easy, but it will be glorious. You will see me act in ways beyond your understanding. You will hear my voice more clearly than ever before. You will feel the rhythm of heaven beating within your heart. And when you look back, you will realize that every moment of darkness, every hour of silence, every time you thought you were lost, was in fact perfect preparation for this season of revelation. Be ready, my beloved, for I am expanding your horizon. Everything you are about to see, know, and experience will transform you forever. You will no longer speak merely about me, you will speak from within me. You will no longer just hear about my love, you will become the embodiment of that love upon the earth. This is the season of unveiling, when heaven touches earth through the faith of those like you. So open your heart, listen deeply, and let me speak, for the words that come will shake your soul, and through you the world will know that God still speaks. I have orchestrated everything for you, each step, each person, each turn in the path you are about to walk. Everything has been prepared long before your first breath. Nothing that comes to you is by accident. Every encounter, every event, every turning point lies within the grand design written by my own hand. I have not only cleared the way before you, but I go ahead of you to straighten the crooked paths, to bring down proud mountains, and to raise up the lowly valleys. As you walk, you are treading on ground already leveled by me. Nothing can hinder you if you move in rhythm with my will. You no longer need to strive as you once did. You do not need to force open closed doors or exhaust yourself trying to do what belongs to me. The time of laboring in the flesh is over. This is the time of grace. All things will move not by your strength, but by mine working through you. You need only to walk, not to run. For in my kingdom, it is not speed but alignment that determines the outcome. There are those who run fast but lose their way, yet you, my child, are walking the right path. Every slow step you take still moves you closer to destiny. I will not rush you, for I do not work in panic. When I move, time bows. When I speak, everything aligns. Do not fear that you are behind. You are not late, not delayed, not forgotten. You are exactly where you are meant to be, at the right place at the right time within heaven's perfect plan. I know there are days when you look around and think others have gone farther, succeeded, more, shone brighter, but their journey is not yours. I do not compare you to anyone else, for in me there is no competition, only completion. You are in the process I designed, and every season within it has purpose. The season of sowing brings tears, the season of waiting brings testing, but the season of harvest will overflow with joy. And now that season is drawing near. I declare to you, the time of delay has ended. What was once held back, hindered, or stagnant will now begin to move. The promises that seem to sleep within you, I am awakening them. The dreams that appeared dead, I am breathing life into them again. The doors that were shut tight will swing open before your eyes, not because you have tried harder, but because I have appointed the hour. Remember this, when my time arrives, no power can stop it. When I say, it is time, even what has decayed will live again, and what was lost will be restored. My child, the season of acceleration has come upon you. But do not mistake acceleration for hurry, or for running with the frantic pace of the world. Acceleration in me is the expansion of grace, It is when you see things unfold faster, smoother, and deeper because you have stepped into the flow of my Spirit. What once took years will now be fulfilled in moments. Those I have chosen to stand beside you will arrive right on time. The resources you need will appear exactly when you require them. I have prepared the people, the provision, and the circumstances, all fitting together like gears in the eternal design of heaven's will. That wave will not only test your faith, it will open a new door within your soul, a door leading you into deeper intimacy with me. There you will no longer believe in me because of miracles, but because of love. You will no longer call me merely Lord, but Father. And in each rising surge you will feel the unseen hand that steadies, carries, wipes away your tears and whispers, "You will not be overwhelmed, for I am here." My beloved child, sit quietly for a moment and listen to the subtle movements within you. They are not mere flickers of nerves nor faint echoes of memory. They are the lamp I placed in you since the beginning to guide your soul through the night. Emotions are not wild beasts to be chained, but messengers carrying letters from the deep. When you drive them away, you unknowingly reject the signals I send. When you enthrone them as kings, you surrender the crown of your heart to one who has no right to reign. So what is the secret? Let your emotions speak, but let me judge. Let them point the way, but let me hold the helm. I gave you eyes to see both beauty and shadow, ears to hear both melody and the wind brushing the roof at midnight, and within you I placed a single thread so sensitive that one touch makes it tremble. That thread is emotion. When joy plucks it, it sings. When sorrow strikes it, it hums in low tones. They are not meaningless, they reveal where the soul thirsts, where it is satisfied, where it is healed, and where it still bleeds. Not a single tear falls without telling a story. Not a single burst of joy arrives without announcing a blessing. When you learn to listen, you will know where the living water flows, where the arrow has pierced what needs tending and what calls for thanksgiving. Remember David, who both sang and wept. His psalms were not dry sermons. They were the diary of a heart that trembled before heaven. He said, "You have kept count of my wanderings, put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book?" Psalm 5, 6, 8. I do not merely see your tears, I keep them. I do not merely notice your trembling, I warm it. I do not merely hear your sigh, I breathe new life into it. And look at Jesus, my son, he wept at Lazarus's tomb. His tears were not weakness, but the embodiment of love itself. So if he, the one who raised the dead, allowed tears to fall, why should yours be shameful? Think also of Elijah, the prophet, who triumphed over hundreds of false prophets on Mount Carmel, yet fled into the wilderness after a single threat from Jezebel. He was exhausted, weary, asking for death. His emotions did not lie. They revealed a body spent, a mind stretched thin, a soul wrapped in loneliness. I did not scold him as a coward. I gave him rest, bread, and water, then spoke to him gently and renewed his calling. Do you see, my child? Some emotional storms only need my touch of rest and nourishment. Others require truth to realign them. Still others need the companionship of an Elisha beside you. Emotions are maps, but I am the guide. Hand the map to me. Yet I know there are moments when you fear what you feel. You fear that anger will erupt, sorrow will drown you, longing will imprison you, hope will disappoint you. So you throw a blanket of logic over every stir, numbing your heart to avoid exhaustion. But my child, numbness is not peace. When a heart turns to stone, pain ceases, but so does love. I do not call you to apathy. I call you to discernment. Discernment means facing emotion, naming it, placing it in my hands, and then listening for what I instruct you to do. Practice speaking to me with simple honesty. Lord, I'm angry, I'm jealous, I'm afraid, I'm happy, but guilty. I miss someone who isn't here. I feel small. Such words do not confuse me. They open the door for grace. When you dare to name what stirs within you, reclaim authority from the darkness. Whether it's the fire of resentment or the drizzle of melancholy, bring it to me. Fire in my hands warms, fire kept alone consumes. Rain in my hands nourishes, rain withheld becomes a storm. I want to give you a few holy tools for walking with your emotions. First breath, you think breathing is biology, but I breathed life into dust so that you became a living being. When you are restless, pause and breathe deeply 3 times. Inhale, Lord Jesus. Exhale, have mercy on me. Second, silence. Not the silence of repression, but the stillness that lets me speak. Turn off your screens, put down your phone, pour a cup of warm water, sit before me for 5 minutes. You will be surprised to see the inner whirlpool calm, the tangled threads find their way loose. Third, writing. Write what you feel, then write the words you hear from me in response. We're not the Psalms born this way, beginning with lament, ending with praise. I will teach you to distinguish emotion from truth. Emotions are like thermometers. They tell you it's hot or cold, but they don't control the weather. Truth is the climate of my kingdom, unchanged by passing clouds. When you feel useless, the truth remains. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. I knit you together in your mother's womb. Psalm 139. When you feel abandoned, truth says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Hebrews 1:3-5. When you feel rejected, truth whispers, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Isaiah 49:1-6. The thermometer may rise and fall, but the sky of covenant never tears. When you place that thermometer under the sunlight of my word, its needle settles at peace. Sometimes you will feel opposite waves at once, joy and sorrow, calm and unrest, desire to draw near and urge to flee. Do not condemn yourself for weak faith. The heart, like a field, has many furrows. It can hold both tears and songs. Hands that tremble can still hold mine. When you stand between 2 banks of emotion, do not force yourself to choose one. Choose the bridge that says, Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief. Mark 9:2-4. On that bridge I will lead you to the shore of peace without denying what still aches. Look at Hannah, the woman who poured out her soul before me. Others thought she was drunk, but I understood the language of her heart. A year later, Samuel was born a prophet whose voice would echo through a nation. Do you see? When emotion is placed rightly at my feet, it becomes the seed of new creation. Do not fear being too sensitive. The sensitive, when trained in discernment, become watchmen, hearing heaven's heartbeat before the storm arrives, sensing drought before the soil cracks, touching the wound of another before their cry escapes their lips. My church needs hearts that can tremble to know how to comfort, hands that can quiver to learn gentleness, eyes that can weep to know how to wipe away tears. Still, I warn you, emotion cannot sit on the throne. When feelings are crowned as kings, truth becomes their captive. You will be swayed by every wind of opinion, every expression on another's face, every shift of circumstance. The throne of the heart has room for only one, either me or emotion. Place me there and feelings will take their rightful seat as counselors. They will tell you you're weary, and I will say rest. They will tell you you've been hurt, and I will say forgive. They will tell you you're joyful, and I will remind you give thanks and do not grow proud. I want you to learn a new rhythm. Feel present, listen, act. When you feel something, immediately present it. After presenting, listen. I will answer through scripture, a hymn, a memory, the voice of a wise friend, or the tender weight of silence itself. Once you hear, do the smallest thing I show you. Drink a glass of water, call a trusted friend, walk slowly beneath the trees, write a letter of forgiveness, whisper, I'm sorry, or turn off the light and rest. Faith does not always leap, it often walks one steady step at a time. In the coming days, you will see emotions rise and fall like tides. Morning may bring brightness, noon distraction, night solitude. Do not condemn this rhythm. Make it your prayer of hours. When anxious, pray, Lord, keep my heart steady. When joyful, say, I give you thanks. When uncertain, pray, shine your light. When burdened, plead, have mercy. Thus your whole day becomes a quiet liturgy. Emotions are bells, prayer, the response, and I, the altar, ever waiting. I promise you this, whoever brings me their heart, I will not turn away. Whoever offers tears, I will not let them dry in vain. Whoever brings laughter, I will receive it as a new fragrance. Whoever lays their fears before me, I will place courage in their hands. And whoever brings a tangled mess of unnamed feelings, I will sit beside them, untangling each thread patiently like a mother combing the wind-tossed hair of her child. You do not burden me, you do not weary me. I am deeper than every depth within you. Finally, carve this truth upon the gate of your heart. Emotions do not measure your worth nor determine your destiny. They are only the bells calling you into my rest. Do not fear the bell, do not worship it. Follow its sound into my house. There you will learn to taste joy that does not depend on circumstance, to let tears season the heart with compassion, and to turn fear into a low stool from which faith can rise higher. And one day you will marvel to find that the waves that once tossed you now carry you, and the winds that once blew out your lamp now fuel the flame of your prayer. My child, I call emotion a lamp because its light is not its own, but the oil I pour in. A lamp may flicker when a storm passes by, but when I, myself, am the inexhaustible oil, its light will not go out. Keep your heart as you would keep a lamp through the night. Shield it from poisoned winds with my word and the fellowship of the saints. Refill it with oil through small daily disciplines. Let me trim the wick when gray smoke begins to rise, and so you will walk through the night without losing your way. For my lamp, shining through the true stirrings of your heart, will illumine each step, each bend, each crossroads. Go on, my child. Bring both your laughter and your sobbing to me. I will teach you how to sing among tears, how to weep without despair, how to tremble without breaking. For I am the Lord of the feeling heart. I did not make you to lock yourself in ice, but to burst into bloom like a garden after the spring rain. And when you learn this holy art, the art of living fully before me, you will discover true peace is not the silence of emptiness, but the gentle symphony where every high and low note yields to the hand of the eternal conductor. There you will no longer fear the waves. You will smile, place your hand in mine, and whisper, "Lead me." I answer, I have always been here, my beloved child. When the wave rises like a wall of water and you feel you are about to be swallowed whole, remember the sea has no authority to decide your life. I am the one who sets the ocean's depth, draws boundaries for every wave, and commands the wind to cease when its hour has come. No storm in your life occurs beyond my sight, and not a single swell crosses the borders I have marked. The waves may roar, but they are not free. They move only within the limits of permission. Therefore, do not fear. The wave does not come to drown you, but to teach you to rise in me. Like a child learning to swim for the first time, you will flail, panic, and thrash the water by your own strength. But only when you stop struggling and surrender yourself does the water lift you. Surrender to me is like this: when you cease resisting what I am doing, you will feel the unseen hand holding you, carrying you through what you thought was impossible. Many souls sink not because the wave is too strong, but because they try to control what they cannot control. But you learn the holy art of letting go in faith. Let your heart be soft like water, so I can shape it into the form of faith. You have seen ships broken upon the open sea and thought it a sign of failure. Yet some ships must break so that lives may be saved. Some dreams must shatter so that the soul may be set free. I take nothing from you without intending to replace it with something better. When Jonah was thrown into the sea, it seemed he was given over to death, yet the belly of the fish became the refuge by which he lived. In that darkness he prayed, "Out of the belly of Sheol I cried, and you heard my voice." Jonah 2:2. So too the place you deem a grave may in fact be the womb of new life. When you are drawn into the undertow of fear and loss, lift up your head, let your eyes rise above the surface, and fix on me. You will see what Peter saw in the night storm, a figure advancing over the waves, unafraid, unhurried light, glinting on the water. It is I, the one who stands firm without standing on land. When Peter said, "Lord, if it is, you command me to come to you on the water," I did not hesitate. I said only, "Come," and he walked not by the strength of his legs, but by the steadiness of his gaze. Only when he looked away from me to the wind did he begin to sink. Therefore, my child, do not let your eyes shift between me and the storm. Fix them on the wave, and the wave will swallow you. Fix them on me, and I will lift you up amid the waves. I know you sometimes ask me to calm the sea while I choose instead to teach you how to walk upon it. You want me to stop the wind, but I allow it to blow stronger, so that you will grip my hand more tightly. You want the waters to be still, but I know that only in the motion will you learn to keep your heartbeat in time with grace. Do not mistake my goodness when I let the waves rise. I am not indifferent, I am wise. I am not silent because I have abandoned you. I am silent because I trust you are strong enough to learn this lesson. There are moments when you will ask, "Lord, why didn't you come sooner?" But my child, I am always on time. When Lazarus lay in the tomb for 4 days, I arrived then that my glory might be complete. When my disciples thought I slept through the storm, I was present, waiting for the appointed moment to speak a word and still the wind. Some miracles do not come earlier because I would shape your faith through waiting. Every delay of mine has meaning. The waves are not slow, the winds are not fast. Everything moves to my tempo. In those moments that seem most directionless, I am laying a foundation you cannot yet see. My child, when the waters rise to your neck and you feel you cannot breathe, remember that I have passed through deeper seas than these. I know the feelings of loneliness, pain, and abandonment. On the cross my son cried, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Matthew 2:7, 4, 6. But this was not the cry of despair. It was love sounding its deepest note. When you feel as though I am absent, I am in fact nearest. No one hears a heartbeat more clearly than the one who places an ear upon the chest. So it is that in the storm, when the noise is hushed, you will hear me best, not out on the sea, but within your own heart. The wave will teach you not only how to rise, but how to see the world anew. After every storm, the light changes, brighter, truer. A tree lashed by the wind is not weaker. It roots itself deeper. A soul struck by the waves no longer fears. It drives its roots into me. You will see others who struggle, and you will not judge, for you will know how it feels. You will know how to extend your hand because I once lifted you. Those who have weathered storms with me become shelters for the weary. They learn to speak a gentle word in season. They learn to pray for those on the verge of collapse. And this is why I allow you to pass through the waves, not merely that you might survive, but that you might become a witness to my strength. I want you to understand, rising up does not mean remaining untouched. You will still be splashed, still tremble, still bear wounds. Yet in the midst of it all, you will still exist, still move, still believe. That is the true miracle, the miracle of a soul that is not drowned. When you overcome, I will not merely return you to who you were. I will make you new. The water will have touched you, the wind will have kissed your brow, and the light will shine through your eyes differently than before. You will become one who knows how to be silent, yet strong to love without fear of loss, to believe without needing proof. I do not promise the waves will stop. I promise you will learn to soar above them. There are seabirds born in storms, their wings forged by wind, not calm. You are the same. Spread the wings of faith. Do not fold them in fear. When you open your arms, my wind will lift you. You shall mount up with wings like eagles. You shall run and not be weary. You shall walk and not faint. Isaiah 40:3-1. That is, my promise to the souls who refuse to give up in the sea of life. Therefore, my child, do not see the wave as an enemy. See it as a teacher. It shows you that faith is not a concept but an action, the act of rising even when you see no shore, the act of breathing deeply though the water reaches your lips, the act of praying through your mouth trembles. Each time you rise, a part of fear sinks. Each time you lift your head, the darkness retreats a little more. And then when sunlight pierces through the droplets, you will find yourself glimmering, for within every drop is my light reflected. The wave will pass as every wave before it has passed. But what I carve into you will remain. Faith cannot be drowned, for it belongs to me. When you step onto shore soaked, weary, but smiling, you will understand it was all to teach you one truth, that no sea is deeper than my love, no wind stronger than my grace, and no storm powerful enough to tear you from my arms. My beloved child, when the wind stills and the sea grows quiet, you may think the storm is over. Yet sometimes after water comes fire, no longer waves crashing from without, but flames rising from within, a fire that cannot be quenched by tears or reason. This is the stage where I take your soul even further, not just to rise above the sea, but to stand firm within the fire. You will hear your own heart crack like burning coals. See parts of yourself you thought eternal begin to melt away, but do not be afraid. I am the same, one who walked with my servants in the furnace of Babylon. The fire has no right to touch you beyond what I allow. This flame does not come to destroy, but to refine, not to take life, but to breathe new life into you. There are moments in life when it seems everything is burning: your work, your relationships, your strength, your faith. All you built with your own hands seems to crumble in smoke. You ask, Lord, why do you let all I love burn away? And I answer, because I want you to know what cannot burn. Like gold in the furnace, all that is impure must melt, so the precious may be revealed. So too I use fire to separate you from what is not truly yours. Habits, illusions, attachments, sweet, but enslaving. If I did not allow the fire, you would never know that what you thought was light was only smoke. Yes, my child, I know fire is frightening. It makes you want to run, to hide, to beg me to put it out. But remember, there are no shortcuts in refinement. Gold cannot keep its shape and still become pure. It must melt. Likewise, your soul cannot cling to the old and still receive the new. I cannot pour new wine into old skins. So I allow the fire not to punish, but to shape. Each spark that touches you is a stroke of grace. Each wave of heat is my inscription on your soul. You are not ashes, you are gold in my hands. Do you remember Daniel's 3 friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? They were thrown into a furnace, heated 7 times over, for refusing to bow before the king's idol. But when the king looked, he was astonished. I see 4 men walking in the midst of the fire, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Daniel 3:2-5. That 4th man was me. I did not extinguish the fire, I entered it. For the fire does not frighten me, and I will never let you walk into it alone. When they came out, their clothes were not burned, their hair not singed, and there was not even the smell of smoke upon them. Do you see, my child? The fire has no authority over those who belong to me. It can only burn the ropes that bind them. They entered bound, but they walked out free. Fire did not destroy them, fire delivered them. You too are in such a furnace, not of brick and bronze, but of circumstances, conflicts, unanswered prayers, and moments when you feel abandoned. Yet like them, you are not alone. I am there, though your eyes cannot see. You ask, Lord, why can't I feel you? And I reply, because the flame is too bright, You mistake its light for mine. Be still. When the fire softens, you will see that I was standing beside you all along. I never leave, not for a second. When the heat steals your breath, I am your breath. When your vision blurs through the smoke, I am the light within you. When you tremble, I am the strength that keeps you standing. And when all else fades away, I remain whole, eternal, unchanging. I want you to know, fire does not only test, it reveals. It does not only expose weakness, it awakens strength. In calm, you rarely see your true power. In fire, you discover you can endure more than you imagined. Fire teaches endurance, patience, and trust in the midst of pain. Above all, it teaches you to discern what is temporary and what is eternal. You will see more clearly who your true friends are, those who stay not just in comfort but in trial. You will recognize which loves are grace and which are chains. Fire does not lie, it tells the truth in blazing light. You may feel as though you are falling apart, but truly when you break, I can reshape you. Your ashes are clay in my hands. I will form you again, not in your old image, but in a new one, the image of the one who died and rose again. Like the grain of wheat, unless it falls and dies, it remains alone, but if it dies, it bears much fruit. John 1:2-4. You think you are losing, but in truth you are being born again, not rebuilt on the surface, but reborn from the core of your soul. When you are in the fire, time will seem to stretch endlessly. Every minute feels like an hour, every hour like a day. You will pray for the flames to burn faster or to cease altogether. But I say, not yet, my child, for gold needs the perfect duration to reach purity. If I withdraw too soon, it is not yet refined. If I delay too long, it is spoiled. I will never let the fire exceed your strength. God is faithful. He will not let you be tested beyond what you can bear, but with the test will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. 1 Corinthians 1:0-1-3. So trust my timing. I know precisely the moment to say, enough. And when I speak, the fire will obey. There is one more miracle of fire, you must remember it. Not only burns, it also illuminates. Within it you see what darkness had concealed, the cracks in your walls of pride, the cold corners of your heart you never let me touch. Fire exposes and light heals. When I lead you through flame, it is to let you see yourself through my eyes, not for shame, but for freedom. Only when you know where you are weak can I be strong for you there. My child, do not let the fire make you close your heart. Open it amid the heat. Ask me to give you the eyes of a metal worker, one who does not fear the blinding light, but looks through it to see the gold beginning to gleam. When you learn to see that way, you will realize the fire is no longer your enemy. It becomes your ally. It becomes your companion, the faithful friend on the path of sanctification. I use it not to punish, but to engrave my nature upon you. Every spark that touches you is a word I write, you belong to me. And one day when the flames have settled and the ashes cooled, you will look back and understand the very place you thought was hell became heaven. The place you thought was death became life. The place where you cried out in despair became an altar of worship. And you will bow your head and whisper, Lord, I thank you for the fire did not destroy me, it made me new. My beloved child, when the flames rise on every side and all that is familiar turns to ash, you will discover something fiercer than fire. It is silence. Not the silence of peace, but the silence of the void, of no words of questions that rise but receive no answer. You call and only hear the echo of your own voice. You search but find only mist and smoke. You think I have departed, but in that very moment I am nearer than ever. For there are lessons that cannot be taught through sound. They must be spoken through stillness. When Elijah fled from Jezebel, he had seen the miracle of fire from heaven. He knew thunder's roar, the power that shakes mountains. But on Mount Horeb, hiding in the cave, he did not find me in the wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire. Scripture says, After the fire came a gentle whisper, 1 Kings 19:12, and in that whisper I came near. No longer the God of thunder, but the God of breath. No longer the voice that shakes the heavens, but the presence that makes the heart tremble. And Elijah covered his face with his cloak, for he knew I am here. My child, there are seasons when my silence is not absence, but invitation. I want you to learn to distinguish between the silence of distance and the silence of intimacy. When I am silent, it does not mean I have withdrawn. It may mean I am speaking in another language, the language of stillness, of patience, of breath. Like two lovers who know each other so deeply, they no longer need words, just a touch, a glance, a shared silence. I want you to come to that place where you no longer need me to speak loudly, for you recognize my presence in every small detail. I know this is not easy. You were born into a world full of noise, the noise of people, of desire, of anxiety, of comparison, of endless what-ifs. You have been taught to depend on outcomes, on responses, on what can be measured. So when I am silent, you panic. You feel abandoned. You forget that silence is also a language, one that requires a different kind of ear, the ear of the Spirit. My child, learn to listen with your heart, not only with your ears. Silence is not an empty void. It is the soil where the seed of my word takes root. Just as a farmer does not dig up the seed, after planting, do not be frantic when I do not answer right away. My word is already sown. Silence is only the season of germination. If you uncover it too soon, you will break the sprout. I see your impatience. I know you count the days, the nights, the tears. But faith does not grow in noise, it grows in quiet. Each hour of waiting is an unseen work of mine beneath the soil of your soul. Remember Abraham. When I promised him a son, I made him wait not 1 year, not 2, but 25. Through all those years I was silent. He had to look at the stars night after night without seeing any sign. But it was in that silence that his faith matured. And when I finally spoke again, one word was enough to perform the miracle. My silence is never empty. It is the womb of promise. If you stay long enough within it, you will hear my heartbeat in the quiet. Understand this. My child's silence does not kill faith. Lack of trust does. When you are in the furnace and I am silent, it is not neglect. It is the rest between two movements of the symphony. A master musician knows the pause gives meaning to the sound. Without rest, music becomes noise. So I pause to let you breathe, to let you listen, to teach you to sense my rhythm. Have you ever watched a candle? When you blow gently, it flickers. When the wind rages, it dies. But when the air is still, it burns steady and bright. That is your soul. When the winds of the world cease, for a moment when the clamor fades, the small flame within you, your love for me, blazes brighter. Then you will understand silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of light. I know you often long for immediate answers. You want me to tell you exactly what to do, where to go, whom to trust, what to keep, what to release. But if I answered every question at once, you would learn to hear but not to trust, and I want you to know both. That is why some questions I leave unanswered, not because I do not care, but because I want you to hear my voice within your own spirit. For when you hear me inside yourself, faith ceases to be a rope that pulls. It becomes a river that flows. Have you noticed that in smoke and fire, sound fades? When everything burns, people cannot hear clearly, but the light travels farther. In the furnace, there is no room for noise, only for heat and glow. So it is, when you walk through fire, I lessen the outer sounds, so you may see more clearly. I quiet the world, so you may listen inwardly. I silence others, so you may hear heaven. I still your own voice, so you may hear mine. And once you truly hear, nothing will ever shake you again. My child, there is a kind of silence the world cannot understand, the silence of presence. like a mother sitting beside her sleeping child, saying nothing, yet watching every breath. Like a true friend who sits beside you in sorrow, offering no advice, only a steady hand. That is the kind of silence I am. When you are in pain, I do not always say, "Do not hurt," because pain is real, and I honor it. But I sit there with you, among the smoke, the ashes, the flame, holding your hand, never letting go. I will wait until you lift your head and see. My eyes looking into yours, gentle without reproach, filled only with love. My child, you may ask, how can I know? You are still here when I feel nothing. Remember the times you thought you could not go on, and yet you went on. Who kept you? Who kept your heart beating, your breath steady, your faith from going out? It was I. You may not feel me, but I am at work within you, like the living sap in a tree, unseen to the eye, yet flowing just the same. Emotions may fall silent, but the truth does not change. I am here. When you learn to accept silence, you will receive a reward. The world cannot understand the peace that surpasses all understanding. Philippians 4:7. That peace does not come from a promise of painlessness, but from the certainty that you are not alone. It is not mere comfort, it is a dwelling place. It does not come from having all the answers, but from knowing with whom all authority rests. Then one morning, among the fading smoke, you will hear what you once overlooked, the soft sound of tupi, my footsteps. Not thunderous, not loud, just the unhurried cadence of love. You will realize I never left. You only had to learn to listen again. My voice will not come from afar, but from within, from the meeting place of your soul and my spirit. Then you will understand why I was silent, because I wanted you to discover that I speak not only through thunder, but also through the very rhythm of your own heart. My beloved child, when fire has wrapped you round and all things seem to melt in the heat, know this: I do not allow the fire to destroy you, but to refine you. Some things become pure only by passing through the furnace. Some souls shine brightest only when lit by the fire of trial. If I lead you into the flame, it is because I see in you an unrefined gold, a preciousness you have not yet recognized. Fire does not create value, it reveals it. And in the crucible you will see clearly to whom you belong, by whom you are formed, and by whom you are kept. I know these days are hard to breathe. There are mornings when your heart feels as empty as cooled ashes. There are nights when prayer will not form into words. There are moments when looking back at what you have lost, dreams, relationships, hopes, you see only smoke. But my child, do not think everything has been burned away. My fire does not burn the soul. It burns what veils the soul. It does not strip your true nature. It restores it. Picture the jeweler at the furnace, eyes fixed on the molten metal. He knows when to continue and when to stop. He does not step away, does not let the flames run wild, does not abandon the work. His gaze is steady, his heart resolute. When he sees his own reflection in the gold, he knows the process is complete. So it is with you. When I see my image clearly in your soul, I know the fire has finished its task. Believe this, my child, there is not a single moment in the furnace when my eyes leave you. Not a single spark flies beyond my permission. The fire may be fierce, but it is not free. It is allowed to do only what I decree. You may think I have been silent too long, yet while the fire burns, I am speaking through the work itself. I am inscribing your name into every fracture, writing your story in flame, so that when you emerge, you will be more than a survivor, you will be made new. In Scripture, Job said, "But he knows the way that I take. When he has tried me, I shall come out as gold." Job 2:3-10. Do you see? Those words were not spoken in prosperity, but in ashes. He had lost all, been misunderstood and forsaken, yet he believed in an unseen hand governing the fire, and in the end his life shone doubly bright. So it shall be with you. The fire in your life does not come to end you, but to begin you. After the flame I will make you bear fruit where you were barren. Sing, where you once wept, and stand firm, where you once fell. Do you remember when Moses saw the bush that burned and was not consumed? Exodus 3:2. That is the image of what I am doing to you. I kindle you not to destroy you. I burn away the small to reveal my greatness through you. My fire does not ravage, it illuminates. It does not consume, it consecrates. Where I dwell within the flame, the thorn bush becomes a revelation of glory. So too, when I dwell in your life, you small frail become a temple that bears my light. I know what you are losing, those who have left dreams that have collapsed, plans that have halted. You think you are empty, but in truth you are being emptied to make room for the new. I do not fill old vessels. Fire has not come to ruin, but to clear. If you cling to ashes, you cannot receive gold. Open your hands, let the ashes lift on the wind. Let the past rest so the present can breathe. Ash no longer has a shape, yet it becomes rich soil where new seed can sprout. Let me teach you to see with a refiner's eye, not destruction but purification. When I blow heat upon you, do not ask, why ask, what is being made new? Do not gaze at the smoke, look for the glimmer in the midst of it. That glimmer is the proof of my presence. Do not assume that all that melts is loss. In the furnace, the line between dissolving and joining is thin as a hair. In a single moment, liquid metal gathers into a new form, stronger, more beautiful, more enduring. So will your soul. In this season, you will notice some companions drift away. Some cannot bear the heat, they will keep their distance. Some will blame you for changing, some will call the fire a punishment. But they do not understand. The fire is my invitation. I call you out from the crowd to be holy, to be different, to reflect my light rather than the world's. You are not isolated, you are set apart. While others run from the flame, you remain, and in that remaining you are transformed. Like gold brought to the right temperature, you will become soft enough for the master to inscribe without breaking. Fire makes gold trustworthy, able to bear blows without warping. So will your soul be. After the fire you will be tender before me, yet strong before the world. You will know how to bow without being subdued, how to weep without collapsing, how to love without losing yourself. You will keep your peace, not because life is calm, but because you have learned to be still in the flame. Perhaps you think you have nothing left to offer, but your very brokenness is the most beautiful offering upon my altar. I do not ask for a flawless sacrifice. I ask for a true heart. A heart shattered yet returning is a fragrance more precious than all the perfumes of this world. So, let the fire complete its work. Do not beg me to extinguish it before it yields the gold. Let time and grace labor together. My child, when you pass through the fire, remember I go before you. When you stand in the fire, I stand with you. And when you come out, I come behind you. I surround you before and after, above and below. The flame cannot swallow you, for you are held in my hand. Let this fire etch faith into your very bones, so that when other trials arise, you will remember I have stood in the fire, and he was there. Then no wind will topple you, and no accusation will make you doubt my love. And when you step out of the furnace, the light will be different. No longer a borrowed light, but a light that radiates from within you, the light of a soul refined by fire. Others will look and say, "This one has walked through flames, yet carries no smell of smoke." You will bear in your eyes the gentleness only those who have known pain can hold, and in your voice the peace only those who have wept can speak. You will become a place where others find hope, for they will see in you living proof that the fire of God does not destroy, it resurrects. And when you look back, you will no longer see ashes but gold, no longer see wounds but imprints, no longer see loss but miracles. You will whisper, "Lord, I thank you. Without the fire I would still be raw ore, but now I am gold in your hands." My beloved child, Now that the flames have quieted and the ashes have cooled, another sound will rise, not the crackle of embers, but the soft dripping of tears. It is the sound of a soul being reborn, of a heart softened after long days in the fire. Do not rush to wipe those tears away, for they are not wasted. In my kingdom no tears are lost. Every drop is gathered by me, as Psalm 5:6-8 says, "You have kept count of my wanderings. Put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? I do not merely see your tears, I keep them. I do not merely hear your sobs, I respond by planting new seeds in the soil made wet by them." My child, tears are the first language of the soul, the prayer without words, the worship known only to those who have truly suffered. When you cannot speak, I hear through the quiet stream upon your cheek. When you kneel and find no words, your tears become the purest amen you can offer. Tears cannot lie. No one can pretend to ache so deeply that their soul melts. Tears rise from a place deeper than awareness, from chambers only I can enter, and I follow each drop to touch the root of your pain. I know you were taught that tears mean weakness, that crying is failure, but in my kingdom, tears are the seeds of strength. Each time you cry and still lift your eyes to me, you are watering your faith. Each time you pray through tears, you are sowing hope into the soil of despair. Those who sow in tears shall reap with joy. Psalm 1:2-6-5. Do you see? Joy does not fall from heaven, it grows from earth, moistened with tears. If you have never cried, you have never truly known joy. My child, tears do not only speak to me, they soften you. They are the rain that loosens hardened ground. There are regions within you that have become sun-baked, hardened by self-protection, by wounds, by long avoidance of feeling. When tears fall, I see those places crack open. The seeds I planted begin to drink. Life stirs unseen. You may not notice, but I do. Beneath every tear, a sprout is breaking through. Let it rise. Do not hold back the rain when I am working miracles through it. When you cry, you are not weak. You are real, and truth is strength. When you let your tears flow, you let grace flow. When you dare to break before me, you open the door for me to enter. A closed heart cannot be healed. Only a cracked one can let light in. And when my light passes through those fractures, you will realize the very pain that once made you tremble is where I placed my blessing. Those who have wept before me no longer weep before men. For they have poured everything out at the true source of love. They no longer need to beg for understanding or sympathy. They have been loved, understood, and embraced. I want you to become one of them souls whose tears do not weaken, but sanctify them, making them tender, humble, and holy. They no longer fear tears, for they know I am present in every drop. Do you know why Jesus wept at Lazarus's tomb? He knew he would raise Lazarus in moments. He knew death would fall, that the miracle was near, and yet he cried. Because true love does not rush past pain. It enters pain to redeem it. Likewise, when I see you hurting, I do not simply command, "Be strong." I draw near. I weep with you. I know what you have lost, and I honor that loss. My love does not erase suffering. It transforms it into the doorway to life. When your tears fall, they do not simply fall to the ground. They fall into my hands. I keep them, and I water with them the barren places you have forgotten. Sometimes you will not even know why you cry, whether for loss, confusion, or something deeper, the touch of my spirit. Do not fear what you do not understand. Sacred tears need no explanation. They are the soul's response to truth. When my spirit passes through, the heart knows something is being cleansed. There are those who have run dry, whose hearts have been sealed too long. They say, "I can't feel anything anymore." Do not envy them. That is not peace, it is numbness. Numbness does not shield you from pain. It severs you from life. I did not create you to be numb, but to feel, to ache at wrong, to rejoice in good, to tremble when you touch the divine. When you stop feeling, you stop living. So let your tears fall. They are proof that your heart still beats, that my spirit still moves within you. At times I will allow a memory to brush against you, a melody, to echo a face to reappear, just to remind you that something within still needs healing. Do not push it away. Sit quietly, breathe, let the tear fall. Each time you weep for the old, another layer within you is washed clean. You are learning to forgive not only others, but yourself. Forgiveness is not forgetting, it is releasing so I can heal, and tears are the path to release. When you offer me your tears, do not think you are offering weakness. You are offering a heart made soft again. I will take that heart, blend it with grace, and return it renewed, strong, yet tender, steadfast, yet sensitive. You will no longer see your pain as a scar, but as a sacred mark that says, "Here God touched me." Remember this, my child, tears are the substance of miracles. There is no rain without the first drop, no life that grows from dry earth. If you are crying, it means the drought is ending. Let your tears fall like the first rain, softening the soil of your heart so I may awaken new hope. One day you will look back and understand the tears that once blurred your vision were what helped you see me more clearly. And when you wipe your eyes, do it with faith, not bitterness. Do not ask, "Why must I cry?" Ask, "What is being cleansed in me?" Do not suppress. Let your soul breathe. Do not be ashamed of weakness, for it is there. My power is made perfect. 2 Corinthians 1:2-9. You will find that tears are not the end of sorrow, but the beginning of a new song. With every cry, the range of your soul expands a little more. You will sing differently, pray differently, love differently. Tears turn the soul into an instrument, each drop a note, each breath a rhythm, and I am the conductor, composing your melody. When that song rises, heaven itself falls silent to listen. My beloved child, your tears are not wasted, because in my kingdom every tear becomes a seed. The drops you thought were only the overflow of sorrow are in fact falling into the soil as the seeds of new hope. Each time you weep and still choose to believe, you sow a seed of trust. Each time you shed tears and still pray, you sow a seed of perseverance. Each time you suffer and still love, you sow a seed of kindness. And my child, the harvest of those seeds will surely come, no matter how long the ground has been dry, no matter how long the night has felt. I have said in Psalm 1:2-6-5, "Those who sow in tears shall reap with joy." This is not a pretty line of poetry. It is a spiritual law, one that never fails. Where there is sowing, there will be reaping. Where tears fall in faith, laughter will ring out in grace. I do not allow your pain to end in emptiness. I turn it into increase. When you bow your head in weakness, I begin to work. When you kneel, heaven opens. When you say, "I can't go on," I answer, "You are exactly where I need you, where the seed can fall." Understand, my child, that every seed needs darkness before it can sprout. No seed grows in glaring light. It must be buried in the earth, covered, forgotten, pressed in silence. Yet in that very process, life is activated. When the seed's hard shell breaks, the life within begins to move. So when you feel buried, lonely, and lost, it is not the end, it is the beginning. That silence, that darkness, that pressure, this is the environment of miracles. You are not being buried, you are being sown. I know you dislike the feeling of being overlooked. You want results now, a shoot breaking through a beam of light, but do not hurry, my child. Trees do not grow overnight, and neither does a soul mature by a single prayer. The rarest seeds, faith, patience, gratitude, peace, grow slowly. I am not in a rush, because I am not only producing outcomes, I am forming a person. My goal is not only to give you a harvest, but to make you the kind of person who can steward that harvest without losing themselves. There are seeds you will sow that you will not see sprout in this lifetime. You will pray for someone, love someone, sacrifice something, and think it has disappeared. but in the unseen realm I have recorded it. Some seeds need 5 years, 10, even a generation to break open. Simply trust that my soil never swallows what is sown in love. Every small action, every quiet prayer, every tear no one knows about, I water each one with my own breath. Some seeds only grow when the rain comes. That is why I allow storms. You think the rain ruins the field, but rain is what the seed requires. Some promises will sleep forever unless a storm awakens them. So I let you pass through tears, so you will learn that the very rain of sorrow is summoning life. As a field must endure a soaking to yield a golden harvest, so your soul must be drenched with tears to bear holy fruit. When you sow in tears, I do not stand far off observing. I bend low and my hand touches the soil with yours. Each time you place a seed, I place my promise beside it. You do not sow alone. You do not fight alone. You do not pray alone. Every petition, no matter how faint, is carried by the Spirit's breath straight to my throne. Like a breeze that lifts the scent of a wheat field heavenward, your tears rise like incense that I inhale with boundless love. I know there are days you say, Lord, I see no change. Remember, growth happens in silence. Seeds do not explode with noise or spectacle. They simply break quietly, reach upward, quietly take root. Everything in my kingdom starts small. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, the smallest of all seeds. Yet when it grows, it becomes greater than all. Matthew 1:33, 132. So too your faith may be as small as a mustard seed, but when I water it with tears, it becomes a great tree in whose branches the birds find shelter. At times you will watch others reap while you are still sowing. You will ask, Lord, what did I do wrong? But you have done nothing wrong. Each person has their own season. Some reap now because they sowed long ago. Some sow today to reap another day. I forget no season and overlook no field. If you are faithful to sow, I am faithful to send rain. Do not compare your field to another's. Tend the soil I have entrusted to you, for when your season comes, no one can hinder your harvest. Remember also that the harvest does not always arrive in the shape you expect. You ask me for success, and I give you endurance. You ask for peace, and I give you an opportunity to forgive. You ask for love, and I teach you to love the hardest person to love. This is how I bring seeds to life. My purpose is not to give you outcomes that feel easy, but to produce in you the very nature of my kingdom. I do not merely want you to have joy, I want you to become joy. My child, my harvest is unlike the world's. In the world, people reap to consume. In my kingdom, you reap to share. When you enter your season of rejoicing, it is not the end. It is the moment you begin to give away what you learned through tears. When you comfort the suffering with the comfort you yourself received, you are reaping. When you forgive the one who wounded you, you are reaping. When you teach someone to believe in the dark, you are reaping. And this harvest never ends because it multiplies through every life you touch. There is one more thing I want you to know sometimes. Tears and laughter walk together. You will smile with wet eyes. This is the sign of maturity. Those who can weep and laugh at the same time have gone deep enough to know that pain and beauty can coexist. They do not try to erase sorrow, they learn to see the light within it. And I, who turned the cross into the sign of hope, will turn your tears into a song of praise. Therefore, my child, do not fear to sow again. Do not shrink from loving again, praying again, believing again, even when the field of your heart has been plowed many times over. Keep sowing. Sow with what remains, even if it is only a drop of faith, a single breath of prayer, a small act of love. For I promise no seed sown in my name will be lost. The day will come when the dawn of harvest breaks, and you will stand in a field of gold, your hands full of fruit, and tears will fall again. This time not for pain, but for gratitude. You will remember the cold nights, the sighs, the damp pillow, and you will say, Lord, you kept your word. I sowed in tears, and now I reap in joy. My beloved child, I know there are things you once held tightly that are now only empty spaces in your hands. There are dreams that once blazed but are now dying embers. There are people who once stood beside you and are now only memories. You look around and your life seems like a field after harvest bare spent without a song. You ask, Lord, why have you allowed me to lose so much? But what you call loss, I call new ground. In my kingdom nothing is truly lost, only transformed. I am the one who gives beauty for ashes and the garment of praise for a spirit of mourning. Isaiah 6:1-3. I take what seems useless in your life and weave it into a robe of grace. You see ruins. I see a new foundation. You see remnants. I see the raw materials for a miracle. There is not a single stone in your rubble that I cannot use to build something greater. Not a single tear falls in vain. I use each one to wash away what is old, so that light may reflect more clearly from the surface of your soul. Child, remember Joseph. He was sold by his own brothers, imprisoned and forgotten by the one he helped. Yet years later he stood before Pharaoh, elevated to govern an entire nation. When he saw his brothers again, he did not say, "You destroyed my life," but declared, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Genesis 5:0-20. My child, I am writing such a story in your life as well. Every loss, betrayal, and failure lies in my hands, and I am turning them into blessings, not only for you, but for many, through you. You think that pain is proof I have left you, but pain is the trace of my touch. When you lose something, I am opening your hands to place something greater there. When you are removed from one place, I am leading you to another. When I prune you, I am preparing you to bear fruit. Jonah was thrown from the ship and thought he was abandoned, yet inside the great fish he found his direction again. Paul was chained and thought he was confined, yet in the prison cell he wrote letters that changed the world. Do you see, my child? I do not need favorable circumstances to do good. I only need a surrendered heart. I know loss frightens you. You fear not being loved, not being useful, not having a future. But hear me. Loss does not end you. It shapes you. Through what you lose, you learn what truly matters. Through those who leave, you discover who truly stays. Through empty hands, you learn how to grasp me. If I never allowed loss, you would never know that I am the one who can never be lost. Look again at your scars, the places that once bled but now are sealed. Do you see? They no longer hurt, yet they remain. And those marks are testimony, they say. Here I fell, but he lifted me. Every scar on your soul is evidence of divine intervention. They do not make you less, they make you real. Those who have never hurt have never been healed. Those who have never lost have never learned to cherish. So do not hide your scars. Let them tell the story of grace. When you let me turn pain into testimony, your voice will change. You will no longer say, "I was hurt, but I was healed." You will no longer ask, "Why did this happen to me?" but, "Thank you, Lord, that it did, for through it I learned who you are." Grace does not erase the past. It rewrites its meaning. What was once a grave becomes an altar. What seemed like a full stop becomes a semicolon in the story I am still writing. There are things you have lost that you cannot regain, but I can restore them in another form. I may not return the same thing, but I will always give something better. Like Job, he lost everything, yet in the end received double, not just in possessions, but in revelation. Once he said, "My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you." Job 4:2-5. Do you see, my child, the greatest restoration is not material but spiritual, the deep knowing of me. For when you have me, you have lost nothing at all. Believe this, every loss carries a mission. If I take someone from your life, perhaps it is so you can see that true love is not bound by human presence but sustained by mine. If I take a dream, perhaps it is so you can learn that the truest dream is not what you do for me, but what I do through you. If I allow your heart to break, it is so you may discover that wholeness does not come from remaining unbroken, but from being healed. Some souls only become light after being broken. The wind through a cracked branch makes a different sound, not one of pride, but of worship. Likewise, when you sing from the place where you were shattered, your song carries a depth even angels pause to hear. For there is no melody more moving than that of one rescued from the abyss. When you share your journey, others will be encouraged, and they will say, "If God did it for you, He can do it for me." That is when your loss becomes a witness of grace. Remember, the cross was once the emblem of defeat, a broken body, a dream undone, yet I turned it into the symbol of victory, of love, of eternal life. If I could transform the cross into glory, there is no pain in you I cannot make miraculous. Every cross you carry today, loss, loneliness, heartache, will one day shine with resurrection light through your life. So, my child, when you look back, do not say, "I lost." Say, "I was transformed." Do not grieve what is gone. Give thanks for what is being born. Loss is not the final chapter. It is the overture to what is new. Let me write the next page, the one where you understand why you had to pass through tears, why you had to fall, why you had to break to be remade in grace. My beloved child, some people enter your life like the first breeze of spring, gentle, refreshing, bringing laughter and light. But there comes a day when they leave like the wind that has completed its purpose. You feel confused, wounded, struggling to understand how something once beautiful could fade so swiftly. You blame yourself, you doubt, you think you did something wrong. But hear me deeply. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay forever. Some come to teach you how to love, others to teach you how to let go. Some arrive as miracles but leave as lessons. Some bring joy but also tears. And I, in infinite wisdom, allow each one to pass through your life, not to harm you, but to shape you. Every person is a tool in my hand, touching hidden places within you, the parts that love, that fear, that still need healing. Do you remember Abraham and Lot? They journeyed together, shared blessings, endured trials side by side, but the time came when their paths had to divide. Abraham did not cling, did not plead, did not weep to keep him. He said, "Let there be no strife between us. If you go left, I will go right." Genesis 1:3-8-9. And immediately after Lot departed, Scripture says that I spoke to Abraham and opened his eyes to see the promised land. My child, there are revelations that can only come after someone leaves your life. My child, I know you want to hold on to those who make you feel safe, for they seem like proof that you are loved. But true love is not threatened by change, it is revealed through release. When I allow someone to leave, it is not because you are unworthy, it is because their season in your life is complete. You cannot keep spring forever, just as you cannot stop leaves from falling in autumn. Life moves in cycles, and I who hold time in my hands know exactly when to open doors and when to close them. Do not measure your worth by who stays or who leaves. Some people go not because you are lacking, but because you have grown beyond where they are. The light in you unsettles them not because you've done wrong, but because they are not yet ready to face themselves. Some love how they feel when near you, but not the responsibility of truly loving you. They are drawn to your light, yet that same light reveals their wounds, and they fear what they see. They turn away not because you dimmed, but because your truth was too bright. Do not cling to what I am calling away. Fearful attachment only breeds pain. When you grasp what I am removing, you wound yourself. Like the vine that must be pruned to bear fruit, if you insist on keeping dead branches, you hinder new growth. I know pruning hurts, but if you trust me, you will see that every loss is preparation for fullness. Some I send to soften your heart, some I send to awaken your purpose, some I send as mirrors to show you who you are. and some I send to test whether your hope is in people or in me. You need them for a time, but not forever. For I alone am the root of all true relationships. If you anchor your heart in people, you will tremble when they change. But if you anchor it in me, you will stand firm even when they depart. I do not ask you to grow hard or cold. I want you to love deeply but discern wisely. Not everyone who calls you friend can walk with you to the end. Not everyone who says I love you understands the language of holy love. Some are sent only to teach you the difference between affection and divine connection. Once you grasp this, you will no longer be shaken when people leave. Look at David and Jonathan. Their bond was woven by my spirit, pure, loyal, selfless. Yet consider Saul and David. Their relationship began with admiration and ended with envy. I allowed both so you could learn to distinguish who draws you closer to me and who pulls you away. True friendship does not confuse your soul. It brings peace and calls you higher. My child, when you love, you tend to pour yourself out completely. You give all because you believe love means self-offering. But remember, giving does not mean losing. When you pour out and forget to keep the part of your soul that belongs to me, you run dry. I do not want you to become an empty vessel trying to fill others. I want you to be a flowing spring, sustained by me, never running out because I continually fill you. Learn to love from the overflow of grace, not from the exhaustion of effort. When someone departs, you will pass through stages: confusion, hurt, anger, silence. Allow yourself to feel each one. Do not deny emotion. Do not pretend to be strong. I do not need your strength. I desire your honesty. Come to me with your tears, and I will exchange them for peace. Name your pain, for when you name it, I can heal it. Sometimes the one who leaves is the answer to a prayer you have not recognized. You asked me for peace, and I removed what disturbed you. You asked to grow, and I took away what kept you dependent. You asked to trust me, and I took the person you leaned on. You thought I was hurting you, but I was protecting you from what you could not yet see. Believe this, my child, I never take without the intent to give again. But what I give is always different, deeper, purer, stronger. I do not take people from you. I bring them back to where they belong, and I keep you here, preparing you for connections that match the light within you. When the time comes, I will place beside you those who do not just need you, but are destined to walk with you. They will not fear your light, they will shine with you. Do not let someone's departure cause you to close your heart. A heart that is loved, hurt, and healed is the most beautiful kind. Love again, but this time with wisdom. Open again, but this time with discernment. Welcome new people not as replacements, but as continuations of the story I am writing through you, my beloved child. There will be days when you look around and realize that those who once understood you no longer do. Faces that once felt close now seem distant. Voices once familiar sound out of tune. You try to rekindle the light of yesterday, but its hue has changed. Then fear whispers, "Have I changed too much? Did I do something wrong?" But listen, not every change in others is a verdict against you. I know your heart tender, sincere, easily moved. You love deeply, therefore you feel deeply. When someone withdraws, grows cold, or goes silent, you turn inward, examining every word, every gesture, searching for fault. But my child, there are changes in people that even they do not understand. Only I can see the root. You cannot take responsibility for what is not yours. People change because they are on their own journeys. Some grow forward, others step back. Some move toward light, others cling to shadow. Some once found peace in your presence, but when the light in you shines on their unhealed places, it frightens them. They leave not because you dimmed, but because your brightness exposes what they are not ready to face. When the sun rises, lovers of the night withdraw, not because the sun is wrong, but because their eyes are not yet open. Do not measure your worth by your ability to keep people near. Some will love you for the safety you bring, Yet that very safety will scare them, because real love demands honesty, and honesty forces them to see themselves. When they cannot yet bear the truth, they retreat, and you will think it is your fault. But remember, I did not call you to be a mirror for their expectations. I called you to be the reflection of who I made you to be. Do not let others' reactions dictate your peace or your joy. If you let their words, glances, or moods determine your worth, you will live like a small boat on a stormy sea, rising and falling with every wave. I have anchored you, and that anchor is my name. Fasten your soul to it. When praised, be grateful but not proud. When criticized, listen but do not despair. Your value does not come from human mouths but from mine. Do you remember Peter? He told Jesus, "I will never deny you," yet soon after he denied him 3 times. Jesus did not condemn him. He did not say, "You are unworthy." He simply looked at him, a gaze that made Peter weep, not from shame but from love. So my child, when people change, when they forget their promises or betray your trust, look at them as Jesus looked at Peter, with mercy. For I know human weakness is not always wickedness. Often it is simply unhealed pain. My child, I know you want to keep the ones who make you feel safe, for they seem like proof that you are loved. But true love is not threatened by change. It is confirmed through release. If I allow someone to go, it is not because you are unworthy, but because their season in your life has come to an end. You cannot keep spring forever, just as you cannot stop leaves from falling in autumn. Life is always in motion, and I who hold time in my hands know exactly when to open a door and when to close one. Do not measure your worth by who stays or who leaves. Some leave not because you are not enough, but because you are outgrowing them. The light in you unsettles them, not because you have done wrong, but because they are not ready to face themselves. Some love the feeling of being near you, but not the responsibility of truly loving. They are drawn to your light, yet that same light exposes their inner wounds and they are afraid. They turn away not because you have diminished, but because the light in you is too true. My child, do not try to pull anyone back when I have called them away. Clinging from fear only breeds hurt. When you hold on to what I am removing, you injure yourself. Like a vine that must yield to the vine dresser's pruning, if the old branch remains, there will be no new fruit. I know pruning hurts, but if you trust me, you will see that every loss prepares you for something more complete. There are some I send to soften your heart. Some I send to awaken your potential. Some I send to hold a mirror to your soul. And some I send to test whether your hope rests in people or in me. You need them for a while, but not forever. For I alone am the true root of every real relationship. If you sink your roots into people, you will tremble whenever they change. But if you root yourself in me, you will stand firm even when they go. I do not call you to become hard or cold. I want you to love with your whole heart and also to discern by the Spirit. Not everyone who calls you friend can walk with you to the end. Not everyone who says I love you understands the language of true love. Some are sent only to teach you the difference between affection and sacred connection. Once you understand this, you will no longer be confused when people leave. Look at David and Jonathan. They prove that some bonds are woven by me, pure, faithful, sacrificial. But there are also relationships like Saul and David's, beginning in admiration and ending in jealousy. I allow both so you may learn to discern who draws you nearer to me and who pulls you away. True friendship does not unsettle your soul. It brings peace and calls you higher. My child, when you love someone, you tend to give all your heart and strength. You give everything because you believe love means self-giving. But remember, giving does not mean losing. When you pour out and forget to keep for me the part of your soul that belongs to me, you become depleted. I do not want you to be an empty vessel striving to make others full. I want you to be a spring flowing from the source, never running dry, because I am always filling you. Learn to love with the flow of grace, not the strain of self-effort. When someone departs, you will pass through stages: confusion, hurt, anger, and quiet. Allow yourself to walk through that process. Do not deny your feelings or force yourself to be strong. I do not need your strength. I desire your truth. Come to me with your tears, and I will exchange them for peace. Name your pain, for when you name it rightly, I can heal it. Sometimes the one who leaves is an unanswered prayer finally answered, though you do not yet see it. You asked me for peace, and I removed what unsettled you. You asked me to mature you, and I separated you from what kept you dependent. You asked me to teach you trust, and I took away the one you leaned upon. You mistook my protection for harm, but I was shielding you from what you could not see. Believe this, my child, I never take without the intention to give. Yet what I give is always different, deeper, purer, more enduring. I do not take people from you. I return them to where they belong, and I keep you to ready you for relationships that match the light within you. When the time comes, I will place beside you those who are not merely in need of you, but are appointed to share your calling. They will not fear your light, they will shine with you. Do not let the departure of others make you close your heart. A heart that has loved, suffered, and been healed is the most beautiful heart. Love again, but this time with wisdom. Open again, but this time with discernment. Receive the new not as a substitute, but as a continuation of the story I am writing to you. My beloved child, there will be days when you look around and realize those who once understood you no longer do. Faces once familiar seem distant. Voices you knew no longer carry the same tone. You try to recapture yesterday's light, but its hue has changed. And you begin to wonder, have I changed too much? Did I do something wrong? Is it my fault? Hear me. Not every change in others is a verdict against you. I know your heart tender, easily moved, sincere. You love deeply. Therefore, you feel deeply. When someone grows distant, cold, or silent, you immediately turn inward, analyzing every word and moment, searching for the reason. But there are changes in the human heart that even they cannot explain. Only I see the root. You cannot bear responsibility for what is not yours. People change because they are on their own journeys. Some grow forward, others step back. Some choose light, others prefer the shadows. Some once found peace with you, but when your light shines on places within them they are not ready to face, they become afraid. They leave not because you are less, but because your brightness exposes what they are not ready to see. When the sun rises, those who love the night withdraw, not because the sun is wrong, but because their eyes are not yet prepared to open. Do not weigh your worth by your ability to keep others near. Some will love you for the safety they feel with you, and for that very reason they will fear you. For true love demands honesty, and honesty demands self-examination. When they cannot yet bear the truth, they retreat, and you will think you are to blame. But remember, I did not call you to mirror others' expectations. I called you to become who I made you to be. Do not let others' reactions steer your joy or peace. If you let their words, glances, or moods define your value, you will live like a small boat tossed upon a crowded sea, sometimes lifted, often shaken, never at rest. I have placed an anchor within you, and that anchor is my name. Fasten your heart to it. When praised, be grateful, but not proud. When criticized, listen but do not despair. Your worth does not come from human lips, but from mine. Do you remember Peter? He swore to Jesus, I will never deny you, and soon after denied him 3 times. Jesus did not diminish him, did not say, you are unworthy. He only looked at him a look that made Peter weep, not from condemnation, but from love. So when people change, when they break promises or betray trust, look upon them as Jesus looked upon Peter, with mercy. Human weakness is not always malice. Often it is unhealed pain. There are those who truly love you, yet their love is not mature enough to endure. They want what is good, yet they fear pain. They want closeness, yet fear loss. They speak sweetly in the light, but when night falls, they do not know how to stand. Do not resent them. They are moving at the pace their souls can bear, and you do not slow yourself to match their stride. Keep walking at the pace of the Holy Spirit, for I am leading you where they are not yet ready to go. My child, when others withdraw, it is not always a loss. Sometimes it is a clearing, so nothing slows your steps. When I open a new door, I will close the old, not to leave you lonely, but to keep you from the wrong path. Trust that each departure happens under my permission. Some go because I am making room. Some go because I am setting you free. Some go so you may learn that true love rests not upon human presence, but upon my presence. I do not want your kindness to become a hallway where anyone may come and go at will. Kindness does not mean the absence of boundaries. Love does not require endless endurance. I have not called you to be anyone's doormat. I have called you to be a temple of the Holy Spirit. Guard the holiness within you. Do not let anyone wound the soul I redeemed with my own blood. When someone treats you poorly, do not answer with bitterness. Answer with the silence of respect. Your silence will speak louder than 1,000 words. When people change, remember I do not. My love for you does not shift with the seasons. When you are weak, I remain strong. When you doubt, I remain faithful. When you feel unworthy, I still call you by name, beloved. Let my unchanging nature become the ground upon which you stand in all change. Everything else may move, but my grace does not. Look at David's life. He was celebrated, then rejected, cherished by Saul, then hunted by Saul. Yet David did not let others' reactions define him. He remained faithful, kept singing, and called me my shepherd. That is why he was called a man after God's own heart. My child, do not let praise make you proud, and do not let neglect make you faint. Live true before me. That is where your identity is confirmed. You will find that when you are no longer swayed by others' attitudes, you begin to love them more freely. You will not love in order to be loved back, but because love has become your nature, the nature born of me. You will no longer seek recognition, for you know you were already declared worthy at the cross. You will no longer fear being misunderstood, for you know I understand you completely. Then you will cease living in reaction and start living in presence. I did not create you to be a mirror reflecting others' moods, but a lamp reflecting my light. People may change, but the true light within you must not dim in response. Whether they leave or stay, love or hate, you must keep that flame, for it does not belong to them, it belongs to me. And when you keep that flame amid change, you become a bearer of peace in the storm. One day you will realize it was precisely the changes in others that helped you discover what is unchanging in yourself. You will give thanks for closed doors, for through them you learn to stand alone without being lonely. You will give thanks for distant gazes, for through them you learn to lift your eyes to heaven, and you will whisper, Lord, thank you for not letting everyone stay. Without those changes, I would not have learned to ground my worth in you, the one who never changes. My beloved child, love is the flame I placed in your heart from the beginning. It is heaven's imprint upon your soul, the proof that you were made in my image, for I am love. Yet if that flame is not guided by the Spirit, it can burn the very one who carries it. Love without wisdom, compassion without discernment, giving without boundaries. Sooner or later, you will be exhausted, and you will mistake love for a burden, but no, true love does not imprison. True love sets free. I know your heart, gentle, warm, eager to do right. You love deeply, give freely, and are willing to sacrifice even when others do not understand what you carry. But my child, true love is not self-erasure to please others. True love does not say yes when your soul is cracking. It is not what makes you smaller, weaker, or voiceless. The love I placed within you was born to heal, not to consume. It does not drain you. It makes you overflow because its source is not you but me. Remember what Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself, Matthew 2:2-3-9. Do you hear it? As yourself. Love does not begin with appeasing others, but with honoring your own value in me. If you forget to love yourself the way I love you, you will turn love into fear of abandonment, care into dependency, and devotion into a chain. You will give until you are empty, then wonder why love hurts so much. But the love I give does not shatter the soul. It makes the soul blossom. Some come to receive your love, but not to return it. They arrive to fill their own emptiness, not to walk beside you. You see their pain and assume your love can save them. You try to mend, to make them understand, to endure, thinking that patience is the mark of love. But love is not limitless. Endurance of harm and kindness is not permission for others to wound your soul. I have not called you to be a savior. That place belongs to me. Let me remind you, salvation does not lie in the power of your love, but in mine. You may plant and you may water, but I alone make the seed grow, 1 Corinthians 3:6. When you try to save others by your own strength, you take my place in their lives, and both of you will be hurt. You are called to love, not to control the outcome of love. You can hold, but you cannot learn on their behalf. You can intercede, but you cannot live for them. You can show the way, but you cannot walk it for them. When you grasp this, love within you will be free. I do not want you to love less. I want you to love rightly. Love with open eyes, with a heart that listens to me, with a soul that stops when I say, enough. Some relationships do not end because of hatred, but because I say, it is finished. And when I say, it is finished, that is not abandonment, it is completion. Let that love rest like a flower that has given its full fragrance in its season. If you clutch the flower after it has withered, you will hold only the thorns. Do not let your goodness be exploited. Do not let mercy become a chain. When you say no to what is toxic, you are not being unloving. You are protecting my gift within you. You were not made to be a target for others' anger or a container for their fears. You were made to reflect love, not to carry others' wounds until you forget yourself. Therefore, be brave and set boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are the fence that protects the garden of your soul. My beloved child, when you love with wisdom, you will understand that love does not always mean closeness. Sometimes love means letting go. Sometimes love means keeping silence. Sometimes love means walking away, not because love has ended, but because it is great enough not to destroy you both. As a farmer knows when to cut a branch so the tree can bear again, you must know when a relationship needs to be reset. Not every ending is a failure. Often an ending is how I rescue your soul from bondage. Let me be the center of every love you give. If I am the root that love will endure, if I am not, it will wither sooner or later. When you love someone through me, you will no longer love by possession, but by freedom. You will not say you belong to me, but you belong to the Lord, and I am grateful to have loved you for a season. True love does not chain. It allows both to grow. It does not say, stay here for my sake, but come with him even if the road changes. True love does not make you lose yourself. It helps you find yourself in me. When you love rightly, you will feel peace, not strain, freedom, not entanglement, lightness, not fear. If love drives you into anxiety, control, or chronic insufficiency, that is not my love. I did not make you beg for affection, but to live in wholeness. Look at Jesus. He loved humanity with perfect love, yet he knew when to withdraw, to pray, to be alone with the Father. Love did not make him dependent. Love made him strong to serve and clear-eyed, so he would not be swept away by the crowd. Learn this love deeply, but do not dissolve. Give freely, yet keep the source. Help, but do not replace me. I do not want you to turn your heart into a fortress, nor to throw it wide open. I want you to make it a temple, a place for which only I hold the keys, and where whoever enters must be led by the Spirit. You owe no one the right to cross those thresholds. True love is not proven by how much you endure, but by how much you mature. It is not a contest of who sacrifices more, but a journey of two souls moving toward the light. When you learn this, you will begin to love calmly. You will no longer fear abandonment, because true love never disappears, it changes form. You will no longer fear rejection because my approval outweighs the gaze of the world. You will no longer fear loneliness because you have learned that I am the companion who never leaves. My beloved child, there are things I will not explain at once. There are doors I close, though you have knocked with all your faith. There are people I remove from your life, though you have prayed for them to stay. There are dreams I allow to dissipate like smoke, and you cry in the night. Why, Lord? Listen closely. When I take something away, I am not punishing you. I am protecting you. You see only one chapter. I see the whole book. You stand inside the storm. I see from above. You notice only what you are losing. I see what you will keep. You think I am taking, but I am sparing you from what you are not ready to know. Some things, if you hold them, would kill the faith you have. Some people, if you clung to them, would break your soul. I do not take out of malice. I take because my love is too deep to leave you to harm. Do you remember Job? He lost everything: family, wealth, health. People said he was cursed, but I knew he was being kept. Through that removal, he came to know me more deeply. Before he had heard of me with his ears, after he said, "My eyes have seen you," Job 4:25. Loss did not destroy him. It freed him from what had bound him. Likewise, when I remove something from you, it is not to make you poorer, but to make you freer. You have thought, if it was good, why did you take it? My child, not everything that is good for you now is good for you forever. Some things look like blessings, but would become chains if I let you keep them. Some people delight you today, but would draw you from the light tomorrow. Some opportunities glisten, but a pit lies behind them. Therefore, in mercy, I say, enough, and I take them away. When I take, I do not laugh. I am not indifferent. I weep with you. I see your tears fall when the door closes, when the hand you held is gone, when you sit within the quiet I have made. But I do not change my mind, because I know that if I let you keep it, you would lose yourself. I bear today's sobs to spare you tomorrow's despair. True love does not always say yes. Sometimes love must say no. Do you remember Israel? They longed to return to Egypt, the place of slavery, because they feared the wilderness. They remembered leeks and onions and cucumbers and forgot the chains. Numbers 1:15. So too, you sometimes ask me to restore what I have removed, because you miss the comfort of the past and forget the harm it brought. You think having it again would grant you peace, but peace is not in what you hold, it is in the one who holds you. There are things you do not see, words formed against you and secret plans that would undo you, relationships that seem wholesome but are draining your soul. You do not see, but I do. And when I cut, I do not cut at random. I cut precisely, like a potter trimming excess clay, like a surgeon removing a tumor. Sometimes healing begins with a new wound, but a wound I inflict always leads to life. I know you dislike the word loss, but in heaven's language, loss does not mean the end, it means transfer. When I take it, I am making room for the new. Without empty ground, seed won't sprout. Without ash, gold cannot be refined. You are in a process, not a dead end. Where you see finished, I am saying begin. My child, learn to trust me in the space between. Believe that when your hands are empty, I am filling them. When the path is dark, I am opening the way. Believe that the hand that is removed will be the hand that returns. When Abraham offered Isaac, he thought he was losing his son. But as the knife was poised, I had already prepared a ram. I never take without providing. If I ask you to yield it, is because I have prepared something better, even if you cannot see it yet. Do not run back to the door I have shut. You will bruise yourself and blame me. If I say no, it is because I know what lies beyond is not for you. That door may open for another, but not for you. You are appointed to your own path, narrow, not always easy, but bright with light. Step where I call. If you enter where I do not, your peace will vanish. I love you too much to let that happen. Understand that my protection does not always look like protection. Sometimes it looks like a loss, sometimes like rejection, sometimes like silence. But through it all, I am shielding you from what you do not yet know. You see a fragment, I see the whole. You see your tears, I see the crown being woven from them. So, my child, when I take someone away, do not try to hold them with memories. When I close a door, do not try to reopen it with tears. When I say enough, do not say just once more. If I am truly your Lord, trust that I know what is better than your feelings. You do not need to understand everything in order to trust me, but you do need to trust in order to understand. My beloved child, do you see now? Some miracles only unfold after something has been taken away. When Jesus arrived in Bethany, Lazarus had already been dead for 4 days. The people wept, saying, "If you had been here, my brother would not have died." Yet in that very moment of loss, I performed my greatest miracle, resurrection. If I had not allowed death, I could not have revealed the power of life. So when you see something within you die, a dream, a faith, a relationship, do not fear. For I am the resurrection. Death is not a period, it is the pause before the symphony begins again. Therefore, my child, do not curse your loss. Give thanks through tears, for it is doing holy work within you. It is teaching you that true love is not about holding on, but about trusting. It is teaching you that blessing is not having much, but knowing that I am enough. When you have me, you have lost nothing of real worth. My precious one, when I take something from you, you often look at what remains and call it empty. You feel the absence, hear the silence, where laughter once lived, sense the chill, where warmth used to dwell. You sigh, saying, "Lord, this space feels hollow." But I look at the same place and say, "No, it is being prepared." You see the lack, I see the making ready. You call it loss, I call it new soil. As a farmer must break the hard ground before planting, I must break what is old before sowing the new into your soul. The sound of the plow hurts, the dust rises thick, and in that moment the field seems ruined. But it is right there in the turned earth, in the ache, in the emptiness, that new life begins to stir. There will be seasons when you feel you have nothing left. Friends grow distant, work falls silent, joy fades, even prayer feels like echoing into the void. You will ask, "Are you still here, Lord?" But remember, I do not only speak in sound, I also speak in silence. Some of my deepest revelations do not come in thunder, but in the whisper of a gentle breeze. 1 Kings 1:9-11-12. Do you remember Elijah? He thought I would appear in the storm, the earthquake, or the fire, but I came in the still small voice. So it is, my child, that in emptiness I am whispering. In the quiet I am sowing words into your heart seeds. No one sees, no one hears, yet one day they will bloom into a great harvest. Let the silence do its sacred work. Let the emptiness become an open hand, not a clenched fist. I can only fill what you are willing to release. When I lead you into the empty space, it is not because I have left you. It is because I am setting you apart for preparation. You cannot hear me clearly amid the noise. I bring you into the desert, as I did Israel, to teach you that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Deuteronomy 8:3. The wilderness is not punishment, it is school. There are no distractions there, only my gaze. No applause, only my presence. My child, emptiness is not punishment, it is unveiling. I am stripping away what hides me from you, dependency, pride, impatience, even false ideas of love. You think I am silent, but I am saying, now I reshape you, like a potter spinning clay on his wheel. My hands never leave you, even when you feel dizzy from the turning. The clay does not understand what is happening, but the hands do, and when the new form is complete, the clay will know every motion had purpose. Trust me in the empty place. Do not fill it hastily with noise, with shallow ties, with busyness that numbs the ache. Let the emptiness breathe. Let it teach you to slow your heartbeat, to listen deeper, to sense me in every breath. You do not need to fill everything, you only need to be present. I will fill the rest. Before I made light, I allowed darkness to hover. Genesis 1:2. Before life, the earth was formless and void. Yet from that void I called forth a universe. And now, in the empty space of your soul, I am creating again. You think all is collapsing, but I am rebuilding from the foundation. Do not fear solitude. Solitude is not your enemy, it is your teacher. In solitude, you will learn to speak with yourself and hear me. When there is no one left to talk to, you will realize I have always been listening. When there is nowhere else to go, you will discover that within you is a sanctuary. In stillness, you will learn, I am enough. I know you long to flee the emptiness, to run back to the familiar simply because it feels safe. But you cannot soar while clinging to the nest. The eagle pushes her young from the ledge, not from cruelty, but from knowing that wings are strengthened only in the wind. Likewise, I let you fall into the empty air, not to make you fall, but to teach you that you can fly. You will see on the days when no one stands beside you, I will be there. When no message arrives, I will send the wind to whisper through your spirit. When you have no words left, I will turn your sighs into prayers. When you think you are alone, know that all of heaven surrounds you in quiet guardianship. Mark this truth. I am not afraid of emptiness. I created it. Emptiness is where miracles begin. When Moses stood before the Red Sea, water ahead, armies behind, between despair and danger, there in the empty space I made a way. If you never stood where nothing remained, you would never see me do the impossible. Emptiness may make you tremble, but I say, do not fear. For in the hollow place my presence becomes dense and real. With no distractions, no competing voices, only you and me. You will learn that I am not merely the God of outward miracles, but the God of inner fullness. One day you will look back and smile, realizing that it was in emptiness that you were reborn. You will see that the void did not kill you, it purified you. It did not diminish you, it prepared you for abundance. And when the new arrives, a relationship guided by the Spirit, a calling unveiled, a joy restored, you will understand why I once made you wait. Do not fear waiting. Waiting does not weaken you. It builds the sinews of faith. When you stay steady in the in-between, your soul learns that not all good things come quickly, but all good things come in their time. I am never late. I arrive the moment you are ready to keep what I give. And when the new has come, you will no longer call the empty space void. You will call it promised land. For out of the wilderness I call rivers, out of dry ground. I make flowers bloom out of what seems gone. I raise what is eternal. Believe this, my child. Every emptiness you fear is an invitation for me to enter and make all things new. Do not fill it with fear, offer it to me. I will turn silence into song, loneliness into communion, emptiness into holy ground, where miracles are born. And after every season of loss, there will always be morning. No night lasts forever, no tear falls in vain. When you let go, when your hands release the past, they are free to receive the new. And the new, oh my child, the new I myself will bring. You have passed through loneliness, through stillness so deep you could hear your own heartbeat heavy with sorrow. Yet in that silence I planted living seeds within you. They made no sound, but they grew. Like a seed hidden in the earth that seems dead but is bursting with life now, as my sunlight falls upon you, the new begins to rise. Know this, what is coming is not a replacement for what was, it is the completion of what was begun. You may still fear that if you open again you will be hurt. Fear that if you love again you will lose again. Fear that if you hope, hope will fade. But my child, do not let fear finish the story I have written to end in faith. Faith is not measured by how few times you fall, but by how many times you rise. You have learned to let go, now learn to receive. My beloved child, I know your heart feels like soil after a storm, branches broken, roots exposed, earth still damp with tears. Yet it is in that very place that I will plant again, not with what was old, but with new seed, deeper, stronger, able to endure the sun and the wind. I will not rebuild your life with ashes, but with stone. No longer on the foundation of emotion, but of faith. Remember, my child, I do not bring the new to punish you, but to restore you. Yet true restoration is not mere replacement, it is transformation. Like Job, who lost everything but received twice as much in the end, not only in wealth but in wisdom. So too, what I bring will not simply make up for what was lost. It will redefine how you see life itself. You will no longer live just to hold on, but to walk in the freedom of knowing that whether you have or lose, I remain good. When the new arrives, do not compare it with the old. Do not see new faces through the lens of old wounds. Do not fear love, because love once hurt you. Do not hesitate before joy, because disappointment once followed it. I do not repeat myself. Every season carries its own fragrance, every blessing its own light. When I make all things new, you cannot receive them with an old mind. Let me renew how you see, how you feel, how you believe. Look at Ruth, the Moabite woman who lost her husband, her home, her future. Yet she chose faithfulness, walking beside Naomi into the unknown, and there in foreign soil I led her to Boaz. From that encounter came the lineage of the Redeemer. Do you see? Out of loss came glory. Had Ruth turned back in bitterness, she would never have seen me rewrite her story with blessing. So too, my child, do not let fear drive you back to what I told you to leave. I am still writing, and the next chapter will be more beautiful than all the rest. I know your hesitation. After heartbreak, you built walls to protect yourself, barriers of caution, distance, silence. But walls keep out more than pain. They also keep out love. When you fear being hurt, you also fear being healed. When you fear losing, you lose the chance to receive. Let me teach you how to open your heart without abandoning wisdom, how to love with courage, not naivety, how to trust without blindness. What I am bringing will not come as before. It will arrive softly without noise. It will enter through peace, not pressure. It will grow like dawn, gentle, steady, unstoppable. You will not have to chase it, for what belongs to you in me will stand firm. You will not have to fear losing it, for what I give no one can take away. My child, let your heart grow tender again. Tenderness is not weakness. It is the ability to feel grace. A hardened heart may no longer ache, but neither can it love. Tenderness means daring to believe that I can still do good even after the breaking. That is true faith, to believe love can rise again from ashes. When signs of the new begin to appear, a kind soul, an open door, a glimmer of joy, do not doubt. Ask me, Lord, is this you? And if I whisper yes, receive it. Do not let the echo of old pain choke the song of new joy. You cannot grasp blessing with hands still trembling from the past. Loosen your grip and let me hold you. I do not promise the new will come without challenge, but I promise it will come with me in its midst. Once you walked in fear of loss, now you will walk in the certainty of unchanging love. Once you loved to be accepted, Now you will love because you already are. This new love is not born of emptiness, but of overflow. Remember, Job did not just regain what was lost, he gained new sight. After each season of pain, the way you see the world changes. You become more grateful for the small, gentler toward others, humbler before grace. That is maturity, not the absence of loss, but the absence of fear of loss. So let your heart be free. Open your hands to the new, without fearing it might leave. For true love does not need to be held, it remains. True peace does not need to be found, it dwells within. True blessing does not need to be proven, it shines on its own. And when you live that way, you will see that every loss was only a prelude to triumph. Those who sow in tears shall reap with songs of joy. Psalm 1:2-6-5. Believe this, beloved. The new season is not coming, it has begun. My beloved child, throughout your journey you have watched seasons shift, people come and go. Joy turns to sorrow, and even your own heart transforms. Things you once trusted now feel uncertain. Places that were home are now only memory. Yet amid all this change, I ask you to pause, place your hand over your heart, and listen closely. My love for you has never changed. Everything else may move, but I do not. When seas rise and mountains fall, when hearts grow cold and lights go out where you thought they never would, I am still I am. I am the everlasting one, the Father of lights, in whom there is no shadow of turning, James 1:17. Those who love you today may leave tomorrow, but my love knows neither yesterday nor tomorrow, it is always now. I know you have loved and been wounded. You have trusted and been betrayed. You have given your whole heart to something only to watch it crumble in your hands. I have seen it all, and through every tear you shed, I have been there, not as a spectator, but as your companion. I have counted each tear, not one is wasted. They are jewels in my hand. Psalm 5:6-8. You may think I am distant, but I am closer than your breath. When you laugh, I laugh with you. When you are silent, I listen. When you collapse in weariness, I lift you. When you cannot pray, your sighs become intercession through my spirit, Romans 8:2-6. I have never left you, not for a moment. For my love for you is not built upon what you do, it rests on who I am. My child, I do not love you because you are perfect. I love you even when you fall. When you run from me, I follow after you. When you do wrong, I do not erase your name, I erase your sin. When you think I am disappointed, my arms are open. My love does not sway with your moods, nor change with your behavior. It is a crucified love proved at the cross, and nothing can make it larger or smaller. Do you see? Many believe I love them more when they do right and less when they fail, but I do not love by addition and subtraction. I am love, and love cannot be diminished. When you stumble, I do not withdraw grace, I give more. When you are weak, I do not turn away, I draw nearer. When you doubt, I do not scold, I whisper, do not fear. I am not searching for perfect people to love, I make whole the ones I love. Remember the prodigal son. He took his inheritance, left home, squandered it, lived recklessly, and only in poverty remembered his father. But while he was still a long way off the father, my portrait ran to meet him. No blame, no interrogation, just an embrace, and the words, "This son of mine was dead and is alive again." Luke 1:5-4. That is who I am. I do not wait for you to become good so I can love you. I love you so that you can become good. I do not wait for your understanding before I receive you. I receive you in order to teach you. My love is not like the world's love. The world loves for reasons. I love for no reason but you. The world loves when it is easy. I love when you are unraveling. The world loves to get. I love to give. And the wonder is this, even when you try to push me away, I remain. No distance outstretches my arm. No wound runs deeper than my blood. No night outlasts my light. Beloved, I do not only want you to know that I love you, I want you to trust it. Your trust in my love is the foundation for everything else. If you doubt my love, you will fear. If you fear, you will try to control. If you control, you will lose your peace. But if you trust, you will rest. And when you rest in my love, you are free. Not free to do whatever you wish, but free from the fear of losing. I have given you an unshakable love, untouched by time, circumstance, or failure. It does not break when you break. It does not leave when you leave. It does not fade when you fade. When you have nothing left to hold, my love will be the last cord and the only one keeping you from the abyss. You may lose many things: work, loved ones, dreams, position, but never think you can lose me. I cannot be taken from you. I have engraved your name on the palms of my hands, Isaiah 4:9-16. When my hands stretched wide upon the cross, your name was there. When my blood fell, my love for you was sealed not in ink but in eternity. When you remember the seasons you collapsed, remember it was I who lifted you. When you see your scars, know it was my hand that healed them. When you notice the empty spaces in your life, believe it is my presence that filled them. Every breath you draw, every beat of your heart testifies that I am still here. Never measure my love by the ease of your circumstances, for true blessing is not a life without trials, but my presence in every trial. Look back at your darkest days. You thought you were alone, but I walked beside you, shielding you quietly so you would not be crushed. In the night, my light is most clear. Let my love be the ground of all you believe, not the reward for what you achieve. Let it be the root, not the leaves. When the winds of life blow, when people change, when human promises crumble, stand upon this: I love you, and that will never change. I have loved you with an everlasting love, therefore I have drawn you with loving kindness. Jeremiah 3:1-3. My child, engrave this upon your heart wherever you go, whoever comes or goes, however the world may change. I remain the same yesterday, today, and forever. Hebrews 1:3-8. Therefore you need not be afraid of the future, of loneliness, of failure, of loss. My love, unchangeable and immovable, is your eternal refuge. Beloved child, now that you know my love is unchanging, learn something deeper to live in that love each day, not only believing it with your mind, but breathing it with your heart. My grace is not just for the moments you need a miracle. It is for every breath, every small step, every seemingly ordinary instant of your life. You once thought I was present only when you did great things, prayed long enough, or felt something sacred. But I am not only in the miraculous, I am in the living. I am in the morning light spilling through your window, in the breath you take after a long night, in the smile you offer when you feel you have nothing left to give. Every moment you live is evidence that my grace is at work. Grace is not a one-time portion. It is a river. It flows like an underground stream beneath your soul. Whether you see it or not, it is moving, soothing, renewing. When you are weak, grace becomes strength. When you are lost, grace becomes a path. When you are discouraged, grace becomes warmth in your chest. And when you have no words, grace becomes a voiceless prayer rising from your depths. Stop striving to be worthy. Grace cannot be purchased and cannot be deserved. It can only be received in surrender. When you labor to prove yourself, you shoulder a burden that was never yours. When you stop struggling to be loved, you discover you always were. Picture a small child who falls, knees scrape, tears streaming. The father does not wait for the child to dry his eyes before he embraces him. He embraces him first. That is who I am. I do not wait for you to get over it. I step into it with you. My grace is not delayed until after failure. It is present in the middle of it. And it is precisely when you are weak that my power is made perfect. 2 Corinthians 1:2-9. My grace is not a pardon to sin, but the power to live differently. It does not only forgive the past, it empowers the present. When you fall, grace lifts you. When you are tired, it whispers, "Rest in me." When you overreach, it reminds you, "Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit," Zechariah 4:6. And each time I see the weight leave you and your soul grow free, you judge yourself too harshly. At every misspoken word, every frail moment, every unmet expectation, you pass a sentence. But I do not measure you by the world's yardstick. I see you through the blood of my Son. I do not see a sinner straining to improve. I see a ransomed one growing up. You are not failing a test, you are being nurtured into maturity. Grace is not a pill for pain, but the air you breathe. When you breathe grace, everything changes. You no longer live to meet a standard, you live to give thanks. Not in fear, but in quiet confidence. Not chasing expectations, but listening for the Spirit's steps. Grace does not make you lazy, it makes you grateful. It does not encourage sin, it makes you love holiness, because you know you are loved even when you stumble. Begin each day by recognizing that I am within you. Before your eyes open, I am there. Before your sigh escapes, I have heard. Before the trial arrives, I have prepared a way of escape. 1 Corinthians 1:0-1:3. If you truly believe this, peace will settle deep within you, not because all goes well, but because whatever comes, I am enough. You are accustomed to the rush to doing, achieving, holding on. I will teach you to rest in me without guilt. Rest is not the absence of action. It is the absence of fear. When your mind releases tomorrow, when you stop controlling outcomes, when you cease comparing yourself to others, you are living in grace. Try this. Sit still, take a long breath and say, "Lord, you are here." That is all. No many words needed. In that moment of awareness, heaven brushes the earth. In that breath, I renew your mind, heal your memories, quiet your anxieties, and rekindle your faith. Remember my promise. My grace is sufficient for you, 2 Corinthians 1:2-9. Not will be, not used to be, but is right now. Sufficient for today, for this minute, for the very ground beneath your feet. Sufficient for every fear, even the ones you cannot name. My grace does not expire. It does not run out because you draw too much. It flows without end. For its source is not you, it is me. My child, do not think grace lives only inside a church. It is in the kitchen while you cook at work, when the pressure rises in the rain, when you slow your pace, in the moment you forgive, while your heart still aches. Every time you choose love over resentment, faith over fear, rising over giving up, grace is at work. I want you to know grace is never late. It arrives the very moment you need it. When you think you are collapsing, grace lifts you. When you think this is the end, grace opens a new chapter. When you think you've lost the way, grace turns the very path of your wandering into the road home. Learn to see me in every moment, not only in the great miracles. I am present not only on the mountaintop, but also in the valley. When you wash the dishes, when you walk down the street, when you smile at a stranger, I am there. There is no such thing as an ordinary moment to me. Every moment is holy when you recognize that I am with you. Stop living under the feeling of not enough. You do not need to be perfect to be loved. You only need to be present to be transformed. Do not strive to prove your worth, for your worth has already been set by the blood of the Lamb. Do not fear failure, for I do not demand victories. I ask for trust. Do not fear losing your place, for you already have a place in my heart that no one can replace. When you live in grace, your mind will soften, the world's voice will grow small, and my voice will grow clear. You will stop racing, stop bracing, stop pretending. You will live true light and natural, like a river, flowing like a tree, growing like breath, coming and going. This is the life of grace, my beloved child. After all, you have walked through days of loss, nights of tears, moments when you felt forsaken. I want you to know that no chapter of your life is meaningless. I have used every sorrow to inscribe on your soul lessons of love, trust, and hope. And now, as you look back on the road behind you, I want you to pause, draw a deep breath, and listen to my voice. Rest in me. Rest is not surrender. Rest is trusting that I am at work, even when you see nothing. It is when you stop struggling, stop demanding answers, stop trying to understand everything, and simply let yourself fall into my arms, like a child lying on a father's chest, hearing the heartbeat instead of the explanation. You do not need understanding to have peace. You need trust. I know you are tired of being strong, of holding everything together, of trying to make others understand, of stitching wounds no one sees. But I have not called you to be a perpetual sufferer. I have called you to rest. Not rest after the work is done, but rest in the midst of the work. Not rest after the storm, but rest in the storm. Hear me, you do not have to control. You do not have to make everything perfect. You do not have to have all the answers, because I am the answer. When you try to keep everything in your hands, you forget that I hold the world in mine. When you fear the future, you forget that I am already there. When you worry about outcomes, you forget that I am the author and the finisher. Look at Jesus on the cross. In a moment that looked like failure, he said, "It is finished." John 1:9-30, not because everyone understood, not because it was easy, but because the Father's plan was complete. So there will be times I say the same to you, right in the middle of what looks unclear, it is finished. Not because you have done it all, but because I have. Your part is to rest in the completeness of my work. Resting in me does not mean you stop moving. It means you move in peace. When you walk without the weight of fear of making a mistake, without the fear of others' opinions, without the chains of the past, that is rest. When you no longer need to prove, to argue, to outdo, that is knowing to whom you belong. You do not have to work to keep my love. That love cannot be lost because it was never bought. It was given by blood, by sacrifice, by eternity. Now I want you to live from that truth. You do not have to attain grace. You need only abide in it. You do not have to labor to be loved. You need only open your heart to the love that has always been there. Rest is not inactivity. It is a posture of trust that whatever you are doing, I am doing with you. When you speak, I am in your words. When you act, I am in your actions. When you love, I am in that love. When you weep, I am in those tears. Therefore, there is not a single moment when you are alone. There will come a day when every tear is wiped away, every sorrow ends, every loss is traded for glory. Revelation 2:1-4. But even now, in this unsteady world, you can taste heaven within the rest of your soul. Heaven begins where your heart rests in me. When you rest, you are not merely restored, you are remade. Like a seed in the soil, you do not grow amid noise, but in silence. Each time you lay down anxiety, resentment, and fear, your soul is reborn a little more. In that quiet, I breathe into you new life, the breath of grace, of hope, of a peace the world cannot give and cannot take away. John 1:4-7. It is time to stop living under the tyranny of what if. What if something bad happens? What if they don't understand? What if I'm not enough? Hear my whisper. You do not need to be enough, because I am enough. I am your portion. I am your fullness. I am your peace. And when you are in me, you lack nothing. Psalm 2:3-1. Rest, beloved. Your life is not in your hands, it is in mine. You do not have to wrestle time, compete for place, or fear being surpassed. You need only walk at my pace, the pace of grace, unhurried, gentle, steady. One day you will look back and see the things you worried over were unnecessary. Everything you feared losing was either replaced by something better or healed by my very presence. And you will smile, not because life became easy, but because you learned the art of trust. When you trust, you stop thrashing. When you stop thrashing, you feel my hold. And when you know I hold you, you understand that endings are never the end. They are the threshold of new life. Do you remember the grain of wheat? Unless it falls and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. John 1:2-4. So every ending, a dream, a relationship, a season, is only a seed falling into the earth. In its time it will break forth, grow tall, and yield 100-fold. Death is not the enemy, it is the door to new life. So when you lay the old down, do not be afraid. When you say goodbye, do not linger long in tears. When you close a chapter, do not hesitate, for I am the one who writes the next. In me no ending is final. All things bend toward resurrection, toward light, toward another beginning. And that beginning is coming not far away, but within you, even now. I know you cannot see the whole road, but you do not need to. Walk one step at a time with me. Every small step is a confession of faith. Every calm breath is a song of praise. Every moment you choose trust over fear. You are already living the life of resurrection. My beloved child, therefore rest. You need not fear what lies ahead, for I am already there. You need not grieve what is past, for I have used it. You need not rush, for I am never late. Simply remain in me, and you will see that every ending is but the beginning of eternity. I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me will live even though they die. John 1:1-5. And now, as you close your eyes, as your heart exhales softly, as the noise of the world fades away, you will hear my voice, gentle, steady, unchanging whisper into your soul. My child, you have been loved. You are being loved. You will always be loved. Rest in me, for in me all things are made new. Thank you for listening to today's message. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that together we may continue to receive the living word, build unshakable faith, and walk in the boundless love of God. Amen.